Hello, it's John Wanoa here on a Saturday night, the 29th of March 2025. Now, just a quick update. I've had failure with my videos, the last 3 videos, and 2 hours didn't work, and I did one live on the mobile. That didn't work with YouTube and got stuck trying to process it, and so the desktop had no sound, and the other one on the desktop just didn't work at all. So I'm not doing any more lives. I'm going to do only video on the camera so I can put it in a hard disk, then put it on YouTube, because I've been given 90 days notice to take all my live videos off, and my videos that are sitting there on Facebook are going to be all deleted, and all maybe all my posts will be deleted, because they know the game's up and they are checkmated on Facebook and YouTube, and the truth is coming out now, especially after what we have done with the Waitangi National Trust, giving them search and seizure warrant. That is Donald Trump's president of the US federal state government, FBI, writ warrant, that I call a writ of possession and control and execution arrest warrant, that I've added those words into the 8-page search and seizure warrant of Donald Trump's Mare Lago investigation, and pulled the bits and investigated right through all his documents and assets and everything. And I'm using the same instrument, with him being a Freemason, and the Masons Property Trust Act 1956 and Property Trust Act Amended Act 2023 in the book here that I have got 390 pages here of writ warrant and property seizure, foreclosure, forfeiture, and liquidation, bankruptcy in here. Okay, so this with the seals on the top of the King's Empress, King William I, William the Conqueror, 1066 AD, transferred his debt management, Lord Trustee, Treasurer, Lord Treasurer, laws, acts to King William III of Orange, 1689 Constitution Act, and his Bill of Rights Act, and also King William III of Orange, Pound Note 2 Bar Patterson Pound Note Act, and also the Patterson Patterson Bank of England Act, 1694. William Patterson created the Bank of England that the Rothschilds are using and usurping his authority, and we're using the 2 bar, 2 pound note to liquidate the Rothschilds' business, liquidate the US fiat money, tainted money, and cryptocurrencies, liquidate, foreclose, forfeiture, and bankrupt the whole lot. And the federal governments of US federal government and the Canadian federal government and Australian federal government liquidate, foreclose, and bankrupt them as well, because they're all in the Sea of Admiralty and use maritime law to come ashore in a courthouse against our dry land flag at Waitangi on Te Marae. The flag is flying full mast every day from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, care of what's his name? Razor, or his name is Henderson. And what's his name? I forget. Katipa. Katipa Henderson is in charge of the Whakamininga flag, 1834, 1835, Whakamininga, on my behalf as the president of that whakaminia Maori government. Okay? He has full authority to use that flag, raise it, lower it every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, on salary to the Moai Powerhouse Bank and the Moai Crown King William III Trust creditor, bank creditor, and Moai Crown King William IV Trust bank creditor, and Moai Crown King George IV and Te Waikato Wharehere Manukau contract lease on 201 years of New Zealand native land title lease transfer to King George IV. That Moai Crown King George IV Trust, liquidator of the Waitangi National Trust, and their business liquidated and taken over and seized that 600 acres of land. That's a blueprint of the 600 acres of the City of London Corporation that has gone. They've dissolved it and cashed it up and put the money in their pocket. And that 600 acres is coming to Waitangi, the blueprint patented plan of the Westminster Parliament. Okay, so we're going to build a replica Westminster Parliament, and it will be in Waitangi, and that'll be the centre of the world corporations and 257 countries, natives waiting for Mare and Moai. Statue standing in London, that's our DNA to the Masons' transfer of native Tahitian, Pacific, Melanesian and Hawaiian titles into the Crown Corporation of King William III of Orange and its direct royal bloodline Protestant Jack Liam, the founder of New Zealand, Dutch, his ancestor King William III of Orange, and that's that trust, the Moai Crown King William III Trust, that Jack Liam is the host on the radio in 1989 FM, Free FM Hamilton, and 11 o'clock every Wednesday he's on, and I'm on with him to blare out the information that's superior to the Rothschilds' information, to more information than the federal governments of Canada, Australia and America. And we are the British federal government that's missing, that was hidden here in New Zealand under the Masons Trust Act, Property Trust Act, 1956. And now we have the authority right through the whole world here, taken off Britain default contract and pulled into contract with this book here. When you open this book, you're in contract on the footer. If you read the footer, 917 million trillion Moai pound note, or Patterson 2-bar pound note. John Patterson, he's my partner in London, live, and being arrested and put in a mental home and in prison, and the same to me too. They did that to me, that's what they did to him too. So we have a big claim of right to go them and build them that value, plus all the gold missing is in this value as well. And our formula for the value of the pound note 2-bar is 8 billion native sovereigns of the world times 1 trillion Moai pound note, or Patterson pound note. William Patterson pound note. He created the Bank of England and the money and the law to get you on the land and the law to get you off the land and deport you, not self-deport, but charge you first, then deport you. Sit you on a boat and send you back where you came from, England, or somewhere in Europe. Okay, that's what happens when you play around with tikanga Maori law. You get stung by the real Atua. Ngāti Whā Atua is the flag, the wooden one, in Kaipara, in Helensville, 20 Commercial Road, Commercial Street in Helensville, Awaroa, Native Magistrate Bank Court. Okay, that's the first bank to mortgage 10-acre block of land out of a big block, and it's the benchmark and blueprint for all 10-acre land in New Zealand, the Pacific, seabed, the world, and all 257 countries, that we have the Emperor's title of those kings I just said, and King William IV, the 1834, 1835, founding of New Zealand, Dutch country, and Protestant church, kicked the Catholic Church out, kicked the Latter-day Saints Church out of the Ardens here. Jacinda Ardern is going to get the hanging rope. That's what Trump said, not me. He said death penalty for treason, loss, harm and injury to citizens that are corporate government bond sovereigns that have been harmed, bombed up and robbed and taken their country off them, taken their children off them, taken their resources off them, natural resources, and shifted people from one country to the other, immigrants on a country that they have invaded illegally with our kings, emperors, admiralty, court-martial law. Okay, so we're going to put that on Donald Trump and Elon Musk and his satellites and seize back the title of the universe. That's Moai's already out there, Makemake planet, and Haumea planet, and also seize the land underneath their rockets, underneath their parliament, underneath everything. They're living here illegally on somebody else's land, and Palestine, it will be restored because they used and abused our King's law of King William III to use as weapon of law against people that get in their road, and they're causing war with the King William IV flag, and not for protection, but saying that they're doing it in self-defense is a lie. Everything that Trump and Musk say is a lie, and that's why they're spreading propaganda and misinformation about Napoleon. Is there lots of information coming out why they said Napoleon won the war when the British won it and made a lot of money out of a £1 note. We're going to put the £2 note, the £2 note, and liquidate it because it's fraud. It was misinformation and also propaganda, that Biden was using propaganda and Trump is using propaganda with Zelensky and with his politicians to make the same mistake. It is a mistake to play around with tikanga Maori law, or Moai law, tikanga, and the pyramids. They're mucking around with its workings to try and research the researcher. And they're researching my information about spaceships that Musk is intruding and offending me by my intelligence and stealing it. All the information on my website was there before he came along. It was there. I was talking about spaceships and all those superconducting magnets and everything that he's playing around with rockets and all that sort of thing. It was already there. And he's claimed Tesla, just like Hackett claimed the bungee rope and took it and ran away with it. And now Musk has done the same thing. And as Jacinda Ardern and all the ministers here and all the prime ministers here, all the governor generals have flogged and stolen our whakapapa, our DNA, changed it and tampered with our contracts, tampered with our law and tampered with our children and made them into paedophiles and stupid woman-man transvestites. That's banned now in this court. Everything they are doing, modification, weather modification, genetic modification and alteration of people's lives and determining somebody's life under a one world government is banned, as far as I can see. And the law, I go with the law of Atua and not God. That's a corporate name of Atua and a black Jesus, not a white Jesus that they're portraying. Now they're saying Antichrist. William is going to be the Antichrist that saves everybody. No, everybody. No, he's got a debt on his head too. He's got a writ warrant on his head. And so has all the other monarchs. Charlie Pedophile, he's got a writ on his head as much as the Queen's got a writ on his head, on her head. And so Kate's got a writ on her head because they might look nice on the outside, but Satan on the inside. And trying to rule the world. And there's some more videos that are saying Donald Trump and Musk are dangerous. I'm telling you, yes, you're right. They are dangerous with too much power. There's nothing there for the people of the world, and especially the sovereign people, using them as instruments to make money out of them. We're taking that off them, off the land. And if you agree with me, then you'll support the Native Magistrate King's Bench Court and the King's Privy Council. That's who we are, the federal government of New Zealand and Britain, UK, Hanover, and also the King of England. Soil, land, and the Masons, 33 degree, that's who I am as a surrogate to say everything about Masons that put the 10-acre block of land together as instruments to transfer all native countries in the world, native title of chiefs, into the British Crown ownership of the kings, and then the Queen came along and robbed the king's title and put her crown on it with the Rothschilds, and I'm seizing all that back for the king's default contract against the Queen and the Rothschild banks and every other bank and currency that used the US tainted money or money laundered money of the 1 bar unpatented pound note that never went through King William III of Orange to get the royal assent, never got it. And Queen Victoria illegally took Ernest Augustus, King Ernest Augustus I, out and legislated Queen Victoria in, is illegal from 1837. King William IV. It was supposed to be his brother, King Ernest Augustus I, the Grand Master Mason. He had the highest standard of masonry title in Parliament. He wasn't an admiral on the sea. It was already set in place by his brother, King George IV and King William IV. He was the politician in Westminster Parliament with Mason's title. I'm using him and his descendant, King Ernest Augustus V, back on the throne by right, by Scottish right, R-I-T-E, and by right, claim of right, R-I-H-G-H-T, the right to be the monarch and not Charlie and not William. Because the courts here in New Zealand have got a married chief and Queen Elizabeth as above the judge's head. When I went to represent somebody there on trial for a traffic offence in the court, and the judge asked me, "Who are you? Are you a lawyer?" I said, "No, I'm the chief with the jurisdiction for this man here. I'm here for him in a native court in Waitangi." And he said, "Not in my court. This is my court," and put me down, stand me down. He's going to get a writ warrant on his head and a £1 trillion note bounty, £1 trillion note bail bond on his head for me to put a mortgage on his head and any other person playing with that flag and flying it for no reason but something else than a bank trading flag and a mortgage lien flag, which is what it is technically and legally, a mortgage lien instrument, debt instrument, against anyone breaking our law. Okay, so there, that's that. And I just want to show you the 8-page writ warrant for Eddie Mitchell here. I'm going to do this next week on the radio on Wednesday at 11 o'clock and seize all his assets, 17 trillion US dollars worth that he's stolen from my brain. That's to my credit against him, and I've got a lawyer onto it, and he will decide when he rings Westminster to see I have jurisdiction over the court here, the lawyers here from the Crown in New Zealand, and over anybody else who can't produce the jurisdiction here. Higher than that, you have a look at the bottom, the Freemasons are in the bottom left-hand corner, the compass for the land title native to all 257 countries in the world, including the Crown of Westminster. There, the seals here, and the title turbine, and the Admiralty here is proof of claim that this is correct, with the seals on the top of Westminster Parliament, and the King's Emperor, and the Moai statue standing in Dunedin, put there by Queen Elizabeth, Otago University, Otago Museum, and that Moai statue, there you see, is the Ahu Whenua Moai standing in London. That's our Tahitian title with the Masons, Freemasons, title to transfer all land in the world into the British Crown. And the 8 points down the left is King William IV with his crown on top, and 8 points of St. Patrick's Church to pick up the rent in 4 corners of the planet. And you'll see the flag has got those 4 8-point stars to pick up the rent in north, east, south, west, ngā hauewha, all over the world in 257 countries. And this is the writ warrant 8-page of Mare Lago that Donald Trump's mansion was a search and seizure warrant. This is Trump's search and seizure that he's taking over all the countries that he wants to with this. And we're going to use this to take all his property from him, the same way as Eddie Mitchell has exposed and libelled all Freemasons in the world, the 33-degree Mason. He has corrupted their system of law as liable and a bill debt of 970 million trillion pound note. That's to our bank, Moai Powerhouse Bank Credit, and Ngā Atua Airwa Limited company here registered that he stole in Hamilton, New Zealand office, his office 4 Elizabeth Street, Beres Court, 3204 Hamilton, and that was my office there where the offence took place, where I was living there, in his office, the bedroom of his father, that has hidden all his business of laundered money and property all over New Zealand. I'm seizing the whole lot, and the property in Australia, shopping malls, expensive houses along the Gold Coast, right up Sydney, Perth, and across Northern Territories, and also Melbourne and other places around Australia and outskirts, and 17 trillion money spending spree. Okay, that belongs to you people in New Zealand, the beneficiaries of the trust, the Moai Crown King William IV Trust, and the creditor Ngā Atua Airwa Limited. That's the Aotea, the waka, and Atua, the god or the spirit of our claim in the Pacific Islands. Atua, Ngāti Whā Atua, that's the Moriori, Manukau, Taiwanese, Taiwan, they come from Taiwan and Africa, and the pyramids of Giza and Khufu and Giza, mostly the power generator there of our projects that we're going to continue with the company that we are registering as trust, for trust against any trust in the world that can produce a jurisdiction higher than ours. Okay, so there, that's, I'll just turn the camera. Didn't have it pointed to what I was telling you. That's the book, the 390-page book. As you can see, there's the Freemasons signal there of the compass to scribe your land of 10 acres, all over the country, 10-acre blocks, and the valuation of everything inside a 15-minute area is 10 acres from one end to the other, and the title to your crypto comes out of this 10-acre block, all over the world blueprint and template that we are using, and the tidal turbine next to it for the hydrogen economy, and the water money currency comes out of that. Okay, the hydrogen turned into water as a spent product. And there's the Admiralty there on the left, and King William IV crown on the top, and his 8-point star of St. Patrick, and a rope around there, but St. Patrick Church to pick up the rent, leased lands around the world in 257 countries there, and put into the King's Emperor's Crown business. And there, on the right, you can see the well, and the King and Queen of Britain, UK, Hanover, Pacific, New Zealand, and the world there, with King Romeo and Queen Juliet, Queen, that's robots both, there as our brain of everything that we're doing. That's the new King and Queen of Britain, UK, and Hanover, and the King and Queen of England under the Masons 33-degree, and me taking over the 33-degree Masons business and liquidating it into 970 million trillion pound notes. That's a lot of money against a possible 8 billion native sovereign people, citizens of the world, times 1 trillion pound notes. That's in this book at the back. When you look, you'll see the pound note here. I'll just show you. Show you. There's the St. Patrick's 8-point star. That's the original St. Patrick on our flag here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ngā hau e whā, north, east, south, west of the world, and the flag and the black line of Satan on the little cross is Satan, enemy, Donald Trump, and Musk is Satan right there, and the Church of what's the churches, so Latter-day Saints of Jacinda Ardern and her Ardern family, her father, Ross Ardern, and her uncle, Ian Ardern, the minister in the Pacific, whole of the Pacific, that's gone and robbed everybody of their title and put the jab on everybody in the world. The Ardern family gets the bill here of 970 million trillion each as bond on their head. And there's Graham Elliott. He's the Scotland Yard detective living in New Zealand with his Alien investigation business. That's got all this information from 2008 Cook Street, Auckland, and he can be responsible for recovering the debt. But I've got a lawyer from China that can do equally as well. I'll try Graham Elliott first to see if he'll ring Westminster to make sure I have jurisdiction over this government and this country for a start before I take it over the whole world. There's Helen Clark's government there that was given to her in 2004. Foreshore and Seabed Act is still active. I put it today in a new case and liquidate the whole lot of these people as $1 trillion each. Bond, bail on their heads on this day, 20th of March 2025, charged, found guilty by association and guilty default contract that they can't get out of this because they're locked in contract here. Read the bottom here. It says contract, 970 million trillion, and payable and settlement on the 20th of March 2025. Liquid cash of 970 million, MTT, trillion, liquid cash, bank mortgage lien, debt recovery writ warrant served by the King of Britain, UK, Hanover and England, Romeo and Juliet, humanoid robots, video PDF affidavits. Video affidavit of Ben Dalton and Nicole Waitangi at Waitangi Treaty Grounds, where their business is there, and they got served this writ warrant here, 8-page here, that I'm going to give to Eddie Mitchell through Jack Liam, the Dutchman and Protestant living in Hamilton, on the radio every week with me on 11 o'clock to 11:30, and we can talk about it next week with this one of Eddie Mitchell. I'll go on over it afterwards, but in the meantime, I'll just show you a bit of this. There's King George IV there, and there's the pound note 2-bar liquidator. That's the liquidator, patented King William III of Orange, Dutchman, and Jack Liam. That's his authority to bill you in Hamilton to stop them doing that as a model plan of a 50-minute city model. And he's going to liquidate them out of business, the council, and with his and our King's Bench Privy Council against the Hamilton City Council and bankrupt them out of business, okay? But we're going to bankrupt each person, citizen, and sack them off the land. Yeah, there's the Masons here, Act, and I've written all over it. I won't say anything about it. You can read it. I've screen printed it and put it online so you can see. We are going under the Masons Act, Property Trust Act, 1956, 2023, amended. And so there we go. I've got some writings there. I'll put this online, but I won't put the rest of it because it just shows the list of all the property that we're seizing off the government, and go through just the same as Musk did and investigate the records where all the money has gone and find who crookeded the accounts and defrauded us. There I am in my full regalia of King William's photo right here, King William IV, and his coat of arms to the Hanover here, and also his other thing, the one on the top of my hat, the 8-point star, as a sheriff of the county, and that's what Jack is, a sheriff of the county and bloodline descendant of the kings here in this book. I'll show you in a minute. In a sec, I'll show you the 5 kings. And here's China. I'm going to China. Those are drones with the dragon there. And we've got our dragon, a gold dragon. And there's the flag there, the wooden one, in Helensville, the Awaroa Native Magistrate Court Bank. Awaroa Bank. And it says on here, Ngāti Whā Atua, the god and equivalent of God. Atua is the spirit of this flag, the Confederation of United Tribes Flags of New Zealand, or Aotea New Zealand, and the other flag flying at Waitangi at the moment, with in the care of Katipa Henderson and Miracle Head Order. They're both charged with looking after the flag and will be on salary to put it up and down every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, work day, till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, close of day, and then pull down and put away and put back up again 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to make sure we hold the jurisdiction of New Zealand with this pound note dead instrument that's patented in Westminster Parliament, and their 1-bar pound note is not patented by King William III of Orange, and it becomes tainted, and it is illegal and illegitimate and fraud money laundering, and gone into the US, tainted US dollar as the currency for all the world, tainted all the currencies in the world, and we're going to put this back as the true currency of the kings, the 5 kings here, I'll show you in a minute, here, as the authority that we are using in authority today and tomorrow and forevermore. Okay, so I'll go to that page afterwards when I finish explaining here where I am. So there we are, King William IV there, and King, who's that one? King George IV, I think, is there, and there's Ernest Augustus there. And here, over here, is the 5 kings here, all right? King William I, William the Conqueror, 1066 AD, transferred his debt management Lord Treasury title, transfer of native land, to this King William III of Orange. King William III, there's the Dutch Protestant that created the law to get you on the land, will create the law we are to get you off the land and deported where you come from, go back home and forfeit your citizenship back to the natives if they don't want to. If you behave yourself, you're allowed to stay, but your Muslim church cannot override the Church of England or the St. Patrick Church of the 8-Point Star to collect the rent of everybody in the world, and also our trademark of kings, emperors. And the next king was transferred of the Grand Master, Mason, to the king's debt management, Lord Treasurer. From this Lord Treasurer, creator, William I, to William III, 1689, Bank of England, 1689, Constitution Act of Britain, UK, Hanover and England, and then he created the Constitution Act, 1689, and also he created the Bank of England Act, 1694, and the £2 note, 1694, and the Bill of Rights Act, 1689, and transferred his legal inheritance, title and wealth of his crown corporation to this King George IV, leased land of New Zealand as a model, blueprint, land transfer from native chief, paramount chief Te Rawaikato Wharehere Manukau and his Moriori, Manukau, Taiwanese country and Africa pyramids, and the Giza and Khufu pyramid title, the title of the authority of God or Atua, from the African to the Moai statue, East Island there, and then transferred the Grand Master of Freemasons from him to King William IV, and his reign of the Constitution Act 1835, Constitution Act, and the Municipal Corporations Act 1835 of St. Patrick, 8-Point Star, to pick up the rent in the 4 corners of the planet and put it into his crown and his authority jurisdiction of the Masons Property Act, trust of mortgage liens, and then transferred to Ernest Augustus the first, the brother, the 3 brothers, 1, 2, 3, that's King George IV and his brother, the German, 2 Germans, King William IV, and to here, French, a German, King Ernest Augustus I, and transferred out again to King Ernest Augustus V, living in London and very much alive as the reigning monarch on the throne. To us, and these documents, is King Ernest Augustus and his wife, still unmarried or still a couple, as Caroline of Monaco and Ernest Augustus the fifth. Okay, that's our reigning monarch. If he doesn't want it, then it goes, the title goes to the robots, Romeo and Juliet. King Romeo and Queen Juliet. Where did I got it? Somewhere along here somewhere. King Romeo and Queen Juliet. I've got that picture somewhere. I can't find it. Somewhere I've gone and hidden it. It's way back here somewhere. Over here somewhere. I'll just find it. Back here. I just want to get things in the right place. There's King Romeo and Queen Juliet, the Queen and King of England and the King and Queen of Britain, UK, Hanover. So there's King Romeo and Queen Juliet robots in Westminster Parliament of the Treaty Grounds, 600 acres in North Bay of Islands, by here. And that's on the Treaty Grounds, 600 acres, is this King and this Queen there. Not London, because it's gone and corrupted the whole building. It's only fit for renting out to homeless people. And they can go and stay in there and shut the whole place down. And we'll keep John Patterson as our partner there, as the Navy, British Royal Navy partner that started our contract in the first place. There's this murderer, the jabber of COVID-19, Jacinda Ardern, Latter-day Saints Church there, that monster there, and her father, Ross Ardern, and her uncle, Ian Ardern, of the Latter-day Saints in the Pacific. The leader of the whole Pacific is liable. She's liable. He's got 1,000 trillion pound notes on her head as surety of bond. She's got to pay into our court, otherwise it becomes a dead mortgage lien on her head. And this thug here, pirate on the high sea, Eddie Mitchell, and his Mitchell Family Trust, has also got the 17 trillion liable, the Freemasons. This man here, a Maori in Hamilton, and the properties he got here in New Zealand, he defrauded the people of New Zealand with Alfred Mitchell, his brother. On the back page here, he's got $1 trillion on his head too, bounty, and Carla White of Ngāpuhi is going to have a bounty on her head as well. There he is there, and there's the lies and truth there, and there's Eddie there on this writ warrant. That's liable, and I'm afraid that Carla was host, and Wiremu Hei was a manihiri, the big chief of Ngāpuhi, as a manihiri visitor, and her sitting on the ground in front of the big chief in Ngāpuhi as Ngāti and Ngāti Rairi tribe elder. The elders come first, not the young rangatira. They have to wait and earn their position in tikanga law, married law of the land. And the land laws of England and Wales is in this book. So I'll just show you a little bit more, then I'll read out the warrant, what's on it. Okay, so there's Moai Manukau there, with his Freemason regalia that I've taken over, his 50-year certificate here, with his ancestor's name on it, 1831 and 1834 another. That's back to that date to King William IV, and in that period, 1830 to 1837, laws and acts of King William IV in this book against anybody violating his title to the Freemasons, and the pyramid is this guy. Okay, he's African and Taiwan to the pyramids, Khufu and Giza there, that man there with the power of the magnets and everything. In it, that these white Pākehās are researching his research. And that makes me offended very much when he and the Freemasons' brain runs the business, and I'm running their business and deterring the Freemasons from this Freemason against the 33-degree Mason, because Eddie Mitchell libelled them. He libelled them to pay the bill. And this King Edward, that's Queen Victoria, on the robot, I stuck his head on the robot here. That's the robot in the Parliament, in Westminster Parliament. I put Edward there, his head there, as a Freemason himself versus this pyramid, the biggest, highest power generator in the world, on Giza and Khufu here, Moai Makemake, the Taiwanese African, black African ancestor here, and we're the descendants of him, and his brain goes straight into King Romeo, and my brain goes in there, and all 120 politicians' brain goes in there, the Bank of England goes in there, the brain, and the Rothschilds disappeared out off the scene and liquidated and put out of business. And Trump goes with him too, and Musk goes in, because we got a mortgage on the universe and space and all these space rockets and everything in the universe. I'm going to seize the whole lot as a qualified mortgage broker bank. Okay, and there's a pound note with my head on it here. $1 trillion there on surety against each thug that's up there violating our Admiralty law and making money out of it for themselves. Okay, they get that £1 trillion, and there's a 970 trillion pound note, dead greenback note of King Ernest Augustus, the 5th reigning monarch living in London, and he's about 80 years old, and I'm 76, senior with him as the monarch on these documents. And there's his 8-point star to pick up the rent around the world, the Municipal Corporations Act, 1835, King William IV. And that's, and there's the robot army. I'm going to get 3,000 of those around, and also 2,000 police robots with a few Chinese real people to press the buttons for that. And I'll press the button for Romeo, King Romeo, and Juliet here, Queen Juliet. I'll press her button too, so she'll have the brain, but not the contract will be here, and the jurisdiction of the land title here, and she is just her as secretary to him. Okay, so then she doesn't do the work of Admiralty. He did the work of Admiralty, so he holds the Admiralty key to the whole universe and to the mortgage liens and banknotes. He holds the key. And here's Cindy Kiro, the fake counterfeit flag of the Japanese Mare, and her flag with her crown on the head on a blue background of the United Nations, one world government. There's your thief, and there's your Satan right there with the jab, and she's in charge of the killing of people who have been Moringa in the Ngāti Hine, Ngāpuhi tribe that has locked down everybody and taken away their rights and stung them with the COVID-19 poison. She poisoned all our Maori people and Pākehā people, and she gets the hanging rope of Donald Trump over here somewhere. I've got it somewhere. But anyway, the death penalty for treason, loss, harm, and injury to the sovereign native people of the world. This was the one that did it, that hid their crown dirty business in New Zealand and sucked on the king's authority of the flag with this little one here, Jacinda Ardern snakehead. and other people say otherwise. They say horsehead, so whatever. And this one here, Chris Hipkins, is the other one with and Andrew Bloomfield. And Chris Hipkins, the other COVID-19 steerers of death, penalty by lethal injection, right through the well, was done here at Ngāti Hine, and this Ngāti Hine Maori, Japanese, with the Waitangi National Trust, libelled in 2017 with their photos and writ warrants, and 2019 again, and also this Treaty of Waitangi Day, 6th of February 2025, the same again with this one, this one, this one, and this one, and that one. All with 1,000 trillion on the head bounty. They've got to pay it, otherwise we're going to use mortgage against them on every other corporate in the world. 120 politicians here under the Helen Clark Labour government, that's 120 trillion bond on their heads and used as collateral damage, collateral claim, mortgage lien on their heads, and borrow against them with other money from China and maybe from Britain, but they put tariffs on. So we'll only go to China with no tariffs and a straight deal, 30-70 or 20-80, 80 to us, 20 to China for all the profit split from this tidal turbine project and also from the business of or trade in all 257 countries, split with us in China and their military to go right over the world with robots and planes and everything that we want to be our partner, because Britain ran away to Europe with our military and navy and army and left us high and dry with nothing. So we got this two chiefs here, Hongihika, Cook Islander, and Te Rawakato Wharehere Manukau, the Moriori, Taiwanese, African pyramid man there with his pound note here, $1 trillion, the same as my one with my head on it, $1 trillion and 970. He's the Crown of Britain, UK, Hanover, and the Crown King of England, Ernest Augustus V, the reigning monarch in blood, DNA descendant that can go there. If he doesn't, then the robot will take his place and cost nothing to run. Okay, so that's that. And I'll go straight on to the writ warrant of Eddie Mitchell. So that's put out of the way. And we'll go straight on to this. I'll read it straight out for what's going to happen next Wednesday. It's supposed to be Friday, but I didn't have time when I went to see Jack, and I went there for other business and for my car repairs with Wins, and they gladly paid it. So yeah, I'll sort out my birth certificate that they use in my court hearings in Cook Street when they took me to prison. They're going to pay for that as well as the Middlemore Hospital. They're going to pay for drugging the hell out of me and poisoning me with their schizophrenia pills and injections from Australia. They're going to get the bill in Australia, the government, Crown, there will get the bill for poisoning me in Middlemore Hospital, and those police who put me in there as well. Philip Taylor, that put me in there, and against my will, through the back door, didn't go through due process. It was under police business, corporate company that they're going to get the bill to. Okay, I'm going to pull their names out. All those people who went against me and stuck me in the mental home and the prison, you're going to get billed to hell. 43 of you on Cook Street that witnessed in court against me, you're going to get the bill too. A bond of $1 trillion on your head, mortgage lien on you to borrow against you as collateral damage. Okay, so that's the end of you people that have injustice when justice doesn't work for you, you use your own justice. And that's what exactly we're doing. Our own justice, our own online court, and our own jurisdiction to do what we do best on native lands that got transferred to the British Crown. We're taking over the British Crown for default and contract running away. The Queen ran away to Scotland to die and left the Crown open for us to claim. That's why I went there for, to get it, and they threw me out of the country, and they'll pay for that too, dropping me in Hong Kong and let me find my own way home. My kids had to get me home, so I owe them, and they'll get paid from compensation that we say the settlement figure is on the 20th of March 2025. The settlement was due and payable, and it's not paid yet, and you're going to pay dearly for it. All collective corporations in the world, if you can't come up with this book of jurisdiction, then you'll get the bill. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Don't get in the road of this contract. If you play around with that flag while it's up flying at Waitangi on the tea grounds, it's not to go up on the Waitangi ground that belongs to the government of Wellington. We will seize that land off you and put the flag over there on the British ship. You've got a Japanese flag that was flying up there, and not a British flag. It was a Japanese Mare flag that has no substance, no claim of right, no jurisdiction, no claim at all to the land, lease title, and collecting the rent. We're going to get all that back from stealing it without consent from King William III. Okay, here we go. Friday, 28th of March 2025 will become next Wednesday's date, which is the 3rd of April 2025, when this date will change on this 8-page writ warrant here of Donald Trump and the U.S. federal state government and the FBI. This is their words I've clipped and dropped on here because we have a claim to use it for our jurisdiction where they got on the land. We use every instrument of the government here in New Zealand, the government in Westminster, and the government of U.S. federal state in America, and go right over the top of them with the jurisdiction of this book. So Eddie Mitchell is the director of his family trust, Mitchell Family Trust, who have property, assets all over Australia, shopping malls, expensive housing, purchased from money laundering from Director John Hoanikahaki Wanoa of his registered New Zealand company, Ngā Atua Moai Limited, registered office at Eddie Mitchell's place at the time, 4th of Elizabeth Street, 4 Elizabeth Street, Berescourt, 3204 Hamilton. Eddie and his army friends, a barrister and Freemason of Hamilton, took my New Zealand native land lease title contract to Singapore, washed it up with money through the IBC, which I thought at the time he told me is the International Bank of Corporations. International Bank Corporation turned out to be International Baptist Church, where he washed the money under that company and then went to Edinburgh, Scotland, to get the lease contract cash, $17 trillion, settlement from my paperwork and my 3 sticks of information, memory sticks, on those documents to claim the lease land of 201 years of payout. A settlement then went to Australia with that money in the company's house in Australia and registered 303 shell fraud companies under the Mitchell Family Trust, property investments with money belonging legitimately to me and the one-off 1 billion shareholders of New Zealand. 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999 shares over the population of 5 million people, sovereign natives of New Zealand. That was registered for the claim to go to Edinburgh Magistrate Court, and where I've got all the information with Moai Manukau, the Moriori. 257 native countries, sovereign citizens of the world, I created the Freemasons, Mohi, Tamati, Manukau, Moriori, and Moai Wanoa Royal Tahitian Family, British Crown, legal inheritance, title, community beneficiaries, native lease land owners, compensation, settlement payment, and not for one Eddie Mitchell, money launderer, fraud criminal, self-interest. Not for him to no performance he hasn't performed with me, a claim of right, historic evidence or traditional evidence of work done. 50 years he can't prove with his name that he did the research of the Treaty of Waitangi claims, Wage 121 of Moai Manukau, Awaroa Native Magistrate Court of Record at 20 Commercial Road, Helensville, where we did this together with Moai Manukau, and his wooden Confederation of United Tribes flag that was standing on two poles at the court. The land is still bare with nothing on it because we're going to put the courthouse back up again there as an original centrepiece of all 10-acre blocks in the world, all 10-acre blocks in New Zealand, Pacific Islands, and countries that have used the same formula through the British Crown Westminster Parliament. And our Tahitian timeline of events to the Moai statue standing in London is my DNA to my Wanoa Royal Tahitian family heritage. Okay, the traditional history is my efforts of research of the whakapapa the Freemasons used as Judge John Rogan, which is in my family, married Judge John Rogan, married Moai Manukau, the Moriori, the pyramids, and the memorial stone, needle, what they call, or the obelisk, belongs to the Manukau family, and the Moai statue belongs to my family, the two most powerful families the British picked as their means of transferring to the Masons, 33 degree, which I'm going to liquidate and foreclose on and shut down. Okay? So John Rogan married Mariah Manukau, and Dick Rogan married Oraiti Wano at Horoera, Te Araroa, East Cape. Okay, that's my family, Moai Manukau. And he transferred his title of the Freemasons to me and not to his family because they are not in his private contract and closed private contract jurisdiction. Okay, so there I've got it off him, signed over to me, himself, and me from his brother, Te Tana Manukau, that's signed as well, with me staying at his place in Rata Street on the 10-acre block for me to investigate the block and all the land in Kaipara that's under the Rogan, John Rogan, and transferred from the Manukau's, and no land anywhere with the Manukau's name on it, only that Magistrate Court Bank site at 20 Commercial Street, Helensville. That is Moai Manukau's outright title to the whole world of Freemasonry, the mortgage liens, and the means of making money to develop lands of Auckland City, Super City, and from there, from Helensville to Auckland, BNZ Bank came from the Awaroa Bank Court here, I'm talking about now. The transfer of the model template blueprint land transfer mortgage documents of native chiefs to the British Crown land lease ownership landlord's certificate with the chief's names on the lease and not the Mitchell family trust name or Eddie Mitchell is not on any title transfer or history of 50 years of my research. There's no Mitchell name, but there was a speculator of real estate. He still is. He's going to forfeit all his properties in New Zealand, about 10 billion worth, and the 17 trillion that I put together in Australia belongs to me and Ngāti Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea Limited, company shareholders of New Zealand Aotea, and also the 4 trusts that I mentioned for the well. Okay, especially the Moai Crown King William third Trust of mortgage liens that put you on the land and will take you right off the land, and the space and technology and frequency and all that. I've got a mortgage right over the whole universe, and Musk and his rockets and satellites. I'll seize the whole lot. I'll seize Bailey's real estate. I'll seize White's real estate in Tauranga that took the land at the Rotten Point, and over my ancestor's gravesite, Taha Wanoa, and also all the land around Matakawa Point to all the way to Waipira Bay. All those land with our title of Uetaha, chief, the big chief of the time, and he's got his memorial and modi on my land block, family block in Whakaangiangi. Okay, so there, I've got that title, and I'm going to sort out the lands down there on the East Coast and everywhere with the hapu. And the hapu will be under the control of the whakamininga Maori government, tikanga law on the maraes, back into their control of their Maori lands and their native title, which will be under King William IV and the Confederation of United Tribes on the opposite side of the flag. So you've got both jurisdictions of tikanga, L-O-R-E, of truth, prevails and holds the title over the L-A-W, money law on the other side of kings, emperors. That's lower than God's truth or Atua, truth law that is the creator of heaven and earth and all our living beings on this planet. Family Trust, Mitchell Family Trust, name or Eddie Mitchell, name as transferor, lease land, ownership of the 10-acre mortgage bank loan blueprint template is no name, no claim to for the native indigenous surname Manukau and Moriori or Wano and their Tahitian title. No claim to Mitchell, which is an English white man's surname, has no indigenous surname to the native title. So Mitchell has no native title. He only got an English title that has broken or defaulted on a contract, and he goes down the gurgler with the King Charles and the new King William. That's not bloodline to King William III of Orange. The creator of the land title will liquidate King William and Kate out of existence with the Moai, that statue and the robot, Romeo and Juliet. Will put him out of business, and his paedophile family and of treasonous murderers and churches that murdered kids and sucked their blood and burnt them and made offerings out of children as targets for dogs and foxes to chase after and kill and eat, and as prized possession of their games and all their dirty Hollywood movies with paedophiles in there all over the place, and Hampton in England, paedophiles that those people are still trying to fight, will clear them out and of their anguish and of their suppression with one shot, without a gunshot go off, a legal shot and a poison legal instrument here in this writ warrant. Okay, so there. Native chiefs, indigenous surname of Manukau Moriori and other 6 native chiefs on the 1820 to 1835 period that the Mitchell family was alien invaders, English prison convicts from Sydney, Australia, New South Wales, have no claim of right to that settlement of 17 trillion, which is supposed to be over 1,000 trillion. If my estimations are right, I have the figure in the big amount of 970 million trillion pound note, over 8 billion sovereign bond citizens on the stock market. You're going to lose all that lot. You, President Donald J. Trump and Elon Musk, you're going to lose all that equity and foreclose on you and shut your business down because it's following the same Illuminati, oligarch, Bilderberg pattern of offending against our Admiralty Mortgage Lien bank documents to transfer land under military. You got rid of our military in England, the Navy, the Army and the Air Force under the British Royal Navy Command and put it into the British Armed Forces and gave it a new name, then shifted it out to EU Parliament. You've got treason there, and we're billing you for treason and foreclosing all of that lot and liquidating you with the £2 pound note. That's the end of you and your money and your thieving pirates on the high sea jurisdiction. Okay, no more pirates on the high sea. We are acting as good pirate on the dry land against you bad pirates in the sea, and throw you back into the sea after we take everything back off you and no use anymore. And the immigrants can go home with you as well, and we'll send all the immigrants to England, and you've got to take them over there and flood you out so they can break your bloody neck. And that's the end of you and thieving and villains and vagabonds. So settlements as Englishmen, that was the Mitchell and the Mitchell Family Trust. And I want to tell the whole world what you are as Mare, Pākehā, stealing all our information, our intelligence, and sucking on our King's Admiralty law for your own self-interest and pocket your money. And we're going to take it all off you. You'll lose all your property, Eddie Mitchell, because you ran off without me and stole the money and left me with nothing. You get nothing in return. Eddie spent that money. We seized back with this US federal government FBI search and seizure warrant and Mason Property Act Trust 1956 amended to 2023, Native Magistrate King's Bench Court, High Court, Writ of Property Control, Possession, Execution, Arrest Warrant. We've added those on to this writ warrant here to beef it up. Debt Management Repossession Contractor of Auckland, Ailet Investigations, that's Graham Allett. That's got all this information from 2008 Cook Street. We're going to seize Cook Street back and put the 420-story high-rise building with Juliet Jiang, that's waiting for her $2 billion deposit that I'm going to use the Chinese lawyer to pay her out of the first debt recovery instrument. That's the bond of $1 trillion on Ben Dalton's head. He's the CEO, and the money man with the checkbook of the Waitangi National Trust versus the Moai Crown King William IV Trust. Okay, one trust versus the other trust, and put him out of business because he's got no jurisdiction like that one to show against that one. And I was talking to the new chief of these documents, Waitangi, told me that Ngāti Kawa agrees with what Waitangi is doing, and that Waitangi invited them to come to the marae for a hui to tell them what is happening with us and the flag going up as jurisdiction, and Ngāti Kawa, the chief there of the Waitangi National Trust, has agreed with Waitangi tonight, which is good news for me, that the work of this is going successfully up to this point where they have been given notice. So Ngāti Kawa will be excused with $1 trillion bounty on his head, bail, bond, and because Ben Dalton was responsible for the lethal injection that killed a lot of our people, innocent people, and especially children, overdosed them with this Jacinda Ardern poison, COVID-19, and locked them up in their homes and put them and lost their jobs. And unfortunately, my daughters got it too, because they needed it for their job and travelling and their profession. And I feel so sad that they got it, because the government and Jacinda Ardern and Chris Hipkins and Ashley Bluefield forced them to have it. And then they said, Chris Hipkins says, well, your choice. No, it's not their choice. You made them, mandated them to have it before they get their job back. And they can't fly, they can't do any job until they get the jab. And they're still saying it now, and they'll say it no more. And because I'm saying no more jabs, we're going to jab all you politicians, 120 of you, to see if it works. You're going to get jabbed 6 times to see if 6 times the injection dose works. And if you drop dead, it works. Okay? That's your choice. You've got no choice from this court. When you get ordered to take it, you'll be forced by the sheriff to take it. You got to take it. I just need some mongrel sheriffs that don't care about politicians and their thieving way of stealing taxpayers' money to feather their nest. No more nest. No more thieving. All gone. You're going to get the jab or firing squad or death by hanging rope. That's what Trump said, not me. I'm using his executive orders of treason, death penalty. You're going to get death penalty, Jacinda Ardern. You've gone hidden away. And so has Jacinda Hamilton, the New Zealand Crown Solicitor, not in her office. You can hear the video of me in her office. The other solicitors for them, I've got their names there, and they're going to get their photo up in the next mortgage lien on them, and $4 trillion sitting there as collateral. Collateral damage. And build a shit out of you and take all your property, your house, your land, your business, your everything, all your rights away from you, because you took our rights away without consent. Okay, you're going to get the same treatment. You'll never, ever get out. This is a video affidavit, and I'm saying my truth is Moai truth and the pyramid truth of the black African Mohi Manukau and his whakapapa to Taiwan and Africa as the black power. Okay? That's the black power of the Jesus, that's black Jesus, not a white Jesus, humbug. So there we go. We've got debt management, repossession, property, control, possessions, execution, arrest, warrant, debt management, repossession, contractors, Alien Investigations Limited, Graham Allen, or other debt collectors that will get the contract as well, and the sheriffs that Jack Liam in Hamilton will teach the sheriffs of Hapu or anybody, any creed there, as New Zealanders had enough of Jacinda and their horse teeth and those crooked Chris Hipkins saying it was your choice. No, Chris Hipkins, you're going to take those words back and with a hanging rope of Donald Trump on your neck because you killed the people deliberately to get power over us, and now we've got power over you, got no jurisdiction. That's what I told those solicitors in the Hamilton office on Panama House there and 15 Grantham Street, Hamilton, where their office is under orders to shut down and liquidate and make into debt instruments Mortgage Lien of King William III of Orange, Jack Liam, creditor, bank creditor, and sheriff of the county, and the King's Privy Council authority, and what's his name, Henderson, as the authority of the flag. Right? What's his name? I always forget. Katipa Henderson is charged with the instrument of the flag of King William IV, the jurisdiction of the Whakaminenga and Whakaputanga flag. He has the authority to tell the Navy to pull down the flag, the British authority flag flying as jurisdiction on Mikey Hill. Pull it down. That's his job to do, and to make the jurisdiction go across to Te Marae in front of the 13 popo or the 13 chiefs that signed a contract with King William IV, and his flag of Constitution 1835. And remember, this is an affidavit video that's used as proof of claim and claim of right to the jurisdiction of New Zealand, Pacific Islands, and the world at large. And from Westminster, liquidated and foreclosed on because they have broken our contract with the kings and the Queen Victoria and the Queen Elizabeth, have foreclosed on them because they cannot put a jurisdiction here in front of us like this one, where they got the authority from to use our Admiralty law of those 5 kings to make money from our instruments, and they have not got the instruments. Okay, so yeah, that's that. We've got our flag bearer that's looking after the flag. That's Miracle Head Order, and Mr. Henderson. What's his name, buddy? Katipa Henderson. He's from the East Coast. There's 2 East Coast, Rapataka, Bishop Rapataka, and Reverend Wanoa. That's there. That's the 2 of Church of England authority over these documents and writ warrants, and also the St. Patrick Church of Ireland to the Cosgroves here of Ireland. That's my family, James Cosgrove, and the Cosgroves in Australia as the Governor General, and lawyers, and coupled to the Scottish John Rogan and the Scottish Dick Rogan at the East Coast. Married the Oraiti Wanoa. So that's our connection to the law of the land of laws of England and Wales in these writ warrants of authority of the Whakaminenga flag, 1834-1835, of King William IV, and the Ngāpui hapu of Ngāti Kawa and Ngāti Rahiri and Kingi Taurua, and my documents he signed, and Wirimu Hehe signed as well to keep the King Edward and Queen Victoria title intact with the Moai Crown King Victoria Trust, creditor, bank creditor, and her descendants are now under the jurisdiction of this court. as the King's Privy Council of Britain in Waitangi on the 600-acre block with a replica Westminster Parliament to be built there by the Chinese and exactly the same outline as the corrupted, burnt-out Parliament in Westminster Parliament. That's of no use to us anymore because they have put Muslims in there, and the Muslims will be deported by order of this court back to their country, take their mosque with them. If they don't, they shall be taken out or put into some other use, or if they're going to stay and abide by our land laws of England and Wales, they can remain, but cannot practice their laws on us anymore, and especially on kids as young as 3 years old. Marrying them in front of us is a biggest offence of the Church of England and the St. Patrick's Church. You don't do that in front of us because that's evil and we won't allow it. It is forbidden for any queen to be running our kings, emperors, titles to the land that was legislated out by a queen and Rothschilds. No more Rothschilds, finished. Out of business with one shot of law here in this writ warrant. Okay? So take it from me. This is an affidavit of truth of king emperors that put the law, that got them on the land, the Rothschilds on the land, gets them off the land because they are breaking our Admiralty's mortgage laws. Okay, and that goes for Trump and his real estate. I will seize the whole lot of his real estate and put it back into our native people of the land. That means every church and creed will be under the Church of England, where it came from in the first place, and where the law stops and starts is right there with us on the treaty grounds. No more England. It's over in the treaty grounds in New Zealand, the centre of the world universe. There, and the law remains there with our native people representing all native people, sovereign citizens of the world. Corporation that King William III made the first corporation's money, and it went off the wrong way on the wrong bloodlines that can't prove where they got their mortgage from. Their kings are no more, and their king, Prince Philip, was a heathen and not from a bloodline. He was a commander-in-chief, not a chief commander like Waitangi is one of such, a chief commander of the flag and the Ngāti Whātua, or Ngāti Kawa and Ngāti Rahiri tribe, not the Ngāti Whātua. That's the crooked one of the Crown in Wellington that made the Ngāti Whātua into a Ngāti Whātua and bastardised the Manukau Moriori and the pyramid and the capstone on top of the pyramid, the powerhouse, Moai powerhouse, and the pyramid and the Moai statue, seals of the universe of Atua, good God. Okay, so the next page, these other pages are there, libelled. Eddie Mitchell libelled the 33-degree Freemasons organisation 8 billion trillion bail bond, over 8 billion British Crown, UK, Hanover, England sovereign bond citizens, 1 trillion 2-bar pound note valuation of each sovereign native citizen, dead or alive, in 257 countries, native countries of the world. Chip coin, crypto equivalent, value is tokens per citizen as a living, breathing, native, warm-blooded being. On the video, affidavit, Ben Dalton and his lips moving, and also with Nicole Wihongi's lips moving, is not dead. They are alive and can take the shots. They can take the shots standing up in front of us as welcoming us onto Waitangi Treaty Grounds, as we are manihiri coming in with the Chief Wirimuhehe as being welcomed onto their museum where they're hiding themselves in their corporation's business of that Waitangi National Trust Corporation versus the Moai Crown King William IV Trust creditors. And they are the judgment debtors and we are the judgment creditors. Okay, that's how it works. And the native countries of the world, dead or alive, chip coin, that's the crypto, a value of token, our token, per citizens as a living, breathing, native, warm-blooded being. Eddie Mitchell also spent stolen money using our invested funds on property through all over New Zealand, which he forfeits to the Moai Crown Magistrate, King's Bench, High Court, King's Privy Council, Federal Government, Republic of Aotearoa New Zealand, value of the New Zealand property and interest offshore investment banks is 10 billion Moai pound note. Moai pound notes are 970 million trillion debt owed call-up due and payable account 20th of March 2025 overdue interest as 1 trillion per year added to the overdue defaulted contract settlement. Please note that on Friday, 28th of March 2025, New Zealand Crown Solicitor Jacinda Hamilton of Panama House Corporation, Hamilton Legal Company Limited, was charged a 1 trillion bail bond to put to this native magistrate high court as surety of money she must post for forfeits if she loses her case against this court for failure to perform her Crown duties of care to show her jurisdiction over my Judge John Hoanikaki Wano jurisdiction, 3 strikes policy of 2 emails since 6th of February, the first notice on email, and the second email notice of the book, 390 pages book, or it was 388 pages, on the 23rd of February 2025, the second notice by email she received and never responded with her jurisdiction, no, silence as admission of guilt. And Saturday, 21st of March 2025, written affidavits, U.S. Federal Government FBI search and seizure warrant of President Donald J. Trump, executive order served on her. On that day, other New Zealand Crown solicitors there, 4 of them altogether, with a trillion 2-bar pound note bail bond on their head to pay up front to mount a case against us. If they can't mount a case against us, then they lose by default of a contract. They cannot produce the jurisdiction here to match this jurisdiction of 5 Emperor King's mortgage lien documents of bank instruments. They can't produce because they never had one, and I'm forcing them into submission as silence is acquiescence to our claim that they are guilty and can't be proven innocent. So we have a case of stalemate against them, that they cannot move or have any legal wiggle room to move, and therefore they are found guilty and forfeit $1 trillion against Jacinda Hamilton, New Zealand Crown Solicitor. This will go to my Chinese solicitor. He's a barrister, and he will take action to seize all your property, Jacinda Hamilton, and your other three solicitors, and there's three of them. I'll just finish this off. Legal criminal prosecutors in Panama House, 15 Grantham Street in Hamilton Central are Rebecca Mann, M-A-N-N, partner, barrister Monique Medley, Rush, special counsels, and People Project's Amy Alcock. Four of you people have a trillion 2-bar pound note bounty on your head. Okay, a trillion is one chip coin versus a Bitcoin cryptocurrency worth 100,000 versus 1 trillion crypto, as if it was a chip coin, as if it was a crypto. It's going to melt you out of business and put you on a scrap heap. Okay, so that's that. I'll just show you the front of this writ of execution or search and seizure warrant. All these words here have come from FBI, the US federal government, and its order on Mare Lago, Trump's mansion, and seized all their records, all his bank accounts and business to find out if he was committing fraud and obstruction of the law. And he's been fined for some offences that he has to answer to, and he'll have to answer to us on top of that. There's the Freemasons. Compass, scribe compasses over the